Right. So, okay, this is the interview with Aleksey Kondratov. Thank you for joining this interview. It has been you've been a contributor for Postgres, right?
Yeah, I contributed maybe a handful of patches into the core.
Can you please tell us about the what's your talk about?
So my talk is it's titled like getting on a hook or PostgreSQL extensibility. So it is about one of the aspects of Postgres extensibility. It's about using core hooks. Because there are a lot of documentation, everyone can find a lot of documentation in the official Postgres, on the official Postgres website. And it says about how to create function, how to create your custom type. But actually, if you want to dig deeper, if you want to write your C extension in C and actually integrate into the core some new stuff, sometimes you have to use these hook functions, and it is not documented at all. And actually, there is some information in the web, but it is not complete. So actually, my talk is only 25 with something minutes, so I wasn't able to cover everything there. I just wanted to get a feel maybe how you can integrate some new functionality into the PostgreSQL core without like touching a main code base, like just do it from the extension. So, and I wanted to put a couple of examples there, and nothing special. I just wanted to also I listed some cool sources where you can find information about every hook in the Postgres.
So you partially already answered the next question. So how did you come up with the idea of having this talk?
Actually, first I invented this title because I thought that it would be a good pun, like a word play. That's you get hooked to extensible Postgres in many ways, and also it is the name of this extensibility layer. But I think that the main reason is that maybe for last year I worked under some Postgres extensions, and most of my time I've spent like developing some functionality from the extension perspective. So maybe I figured out what you can do using hooks, and some of that stuff was like interesting for me because first I thought that it is not possible, but after that I found one hook and I found another one and I joined them together and actually extended even syntax of Postgres. Like you tricked Postgres, and it is not think that
without touching the code.
that Postgres doesn't think that you did something, but you already did. And for me, it was like very cool. You feel like you have a power of manipulating such a huge database system.
Have you been into the FOSDEM in person before?
No, unfortunately, I never been on the FOSDEM, and I only first of all, because I work on open source projects maybe for only for 2 years, and Postgres is my first huge open source project where I tried to contribute. And second is that last year I applied for PGCon and for some other conferences, and I even get accepted to PGCon, and I was so happy that I will be that I will visit Canada. And actually, you know what happened then.
I know the feeling because I've been to the PGCon in 2018. I got my talk accepted, so you just start jumping all around the room. I know the feeling.
But last year I only seen some funny video from FOSDEM. I know that there were huge lines to dev rooms, and you have to wait your entrance time. And there was a funny video on Twitter when Stephen Frost get quizzing people in this line and start asking them who invented, who started working on Postgres and when it was started and so on. And it was really funny. And
the next one is about your experience about pre-recording the talk. We are collecting experience about this new way of presenting at conference. So yeah, please share your feeling.
So actually, it was my second time when I recorded the talk, because first was for PGCon, and so I cannot say that it was too difficult for me, and I think I have a huge stage fright, so I always worry about doing a talk, and probably pre-recording was actually easier for me. But still, I was nervous because it is difficult to stop. So you always want to make a better recording, and but you have to. I think that you have to try a couple of times and just say it is good enough. Because if I would do it in person, it is never perfect, I think.
Are you attending other dev rooms except the Postgres one, apart from the Postgres one, or main tracks?
So as I said, it's like Postgres is my first and the main open source community where I try to focus. And so I used a lot of programming languages, like Python is interesting for me, and I found a lot of interesting like topics on the FOSDEM. But actually, it is very difficult to navigate because you don't know any person there, and it is difficult to make a decision which talk to join and so on. So I think that maybe I will join only community track, because I found interesting talk, like at least interesting title there, because it was how to defeat imposter syndrome, because it's another interesting topic for me, because I always so sometimes I experience this syndrome, because one day you think, oh yeah, I did a cool stuff, but next day you think, oh come on man, you never did it. So I think it will be interesting to hear.
Yeah, that will be interesting. If you share with me this talk, I think I will join you. Yeah, if I'm not busy on doing something else. And the last question is something is basically for me because I want to start writing extensions. I joined PGXN. What suggestion do you have for anybody approaching, contributing, or writing a new extension? What suggestion do you have for anybody approaching, contributing, or writing a new extension? What is the way for saying, okay, I don't want to look at this thing anymore. So how to avoid the idea of throwing the computer out of the window?
So I think. So my experience with Postgres started with Google Summer of Code, and so first of all, I think that if you are young enough and maybe you are a university person, then it will be interesting to try to apply to this Google Summer of Code and choosing Postgres like your host organization, because there are not so many actually people who want to dig into such an old and huge project. So competition is not so tense there. And actually, it is possible to write like fine proposal and be accepted. If you want to start doing something new, I think that the main point is to figure out what you want to achieve. So what additional functionality you want to create. After that, maybe start. So if you want to add something into replication, of course, you have to start looking into the parts where it is implemented in the Postgres. Here, I think that there are maybe a couple of points. First, it is that inside Postgres core, there are such files like README files. And actually, it is really cool written. And there are a lot of information. It is like a technical explanation of how things work, but in English. And sometimes it is so well written, then you can just read it like a book. And second is that Postgres, I don't know, for me, it is like maybe operational system inside operational system, because inside Postgres, there are a lot of stuff already implemented. So, for example, because in plain C, what you just have a couple of types and maybe pointer and nothing special function, and you are really, it's very simple language. But inside Postgres, there are already a lot of stuff which is already implemented. For example, there are maybe 2 implementation of lists, implementation of hash table, logs, everything actually. And first of all, if you want to do something new, you have to search the entire project.Maybe some parts are already there, and I have to
they are
like,
just hidden.
yeah. I have to admit that most of times I just to copy paste pieces of Postgres and just refactor it after that.
Nice, thank you very much. So, okay, we have reached the end of the interview. So I want to thank you for your time, for sharing your thought, and I wish you good luck with the, even if it's a pre-recorded talk, good luck with the next the upcoming talk. And okay, so
yeah, thanks for asking me to come, and it was interesting to meet you.